Pokémon has always followed a very simple formula, one that has worked for over 2 decades and showed no signs of stopping. Even when the appearance of the games changed from 2D to 3D, or the not completely traditional gym approach and League we had in Alola and Galar for example, it always felt like your usual Pokémon adventure. But then, as Gen 8 came to an end and Gen 9 arrived, things really changed. So hey, I'm not so a trainer, and was Linear better? Let's get into it. In Pokémon Legends Arceus, we saw a revamp of the Pokémon formula, though the very core was still a linear adventure. You had freedom of movement, but an established order to things. It was in Pokémon Scarlet and Violet that we went fully open world. Gyms can be faced in any order, Gym Star bases can be raided in any order, and even the Titans can be defeated in any order as well. This felt like a good thing, like subscribing to this channel and liking this video, and I cannot deny that the freedom that they promised was really what sold me on the game. Okay, maybe not that, maybe what sold me on the game was it being Pokemon and me being addicted, but you do get what I mean. Just knowing that there was so much to explore in an open world was simply amazing. And it actually was. Finding Pokemon everywhere was a dream come true. Knowing that I had so many different areas to search without the need for loading screens made everything so much more fluid. Open world really does fit the Pokemon franchise, but I can't deny that it doesn't really fit the Pokemon formula as perfectly as it should. A traditional Pokemon story is usually divided into 3 things: the evil team, the lore, and becoming the champion. There can also be a big showdown at the end, but usually the champion ends things before the postgame. And this was exactly what Scarlet and Violet had in mind with the 3 paths we can take. The evil team path is the Starfall Road, the lore is the Path of Legends, and becoming the champion is what Victory Road is all about. And it all ends with a big showdown at the end where our 3 friends, one representing each of our parts, come together. But in reality, this is just the ending to the Path of Legends. Penny and Nemona were simply kinda there. In fact, with the freedom we have for exploring, it shouldn't be hard to see how knowing that we could do all of this in any order we desire seemed like a fantastic thing. Still, that's where the problems actually began. The idea behind having no preset order guiding our Paldean journey is a great one. In fact, I'd even say one of their best ones. A game about exploring gives you extra freedom, an absolute no-brainer. But, and this topic has been talked about a lot ever since it was revealed through the website, the lack of level scaling ended up giving one true path that would be highlighted above the rest. Either you battled very strong gym leaders, titans and team star bosses early by getting a really strong team, something that would then leave you with low level opponents to take down, removing the already low level of challenge present in modern Pokemon, or you would start with the lower level opponents and move on to the higher level ones, just as you would on a regular good old linear Pokemon game. You simply had access to a lot more of the map. So basically we had a fake freedom. Even if you go online now, you'll find countless YouTube videos and articles about the right order for gyms, bases and titans. There shouldn't be one, but well, there is. And in that regard, I think Pokemon works better with a preset path to things. I loved Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, and I think it tells a really nice story and has some really amazing characters. But if we have to be more specific, it mostly tells a good Path of Legends story since it pairs with The Way Home and Arven's plot. And the reason is pretty simple. It is exactly what we just discussed. We had 3 distinct paths. One of the key elements I missed the most while playing the Gen 9 games was interaction between stories. We see Arven, Nemona and Cassiopeia interact in Mesagoza when we're just starting off, and then the stories only intertwine and just in a minor way during The Way Home. Usually, since those 3 roads we could take were actually part of the same story, we would see gym leaders, Elite Four members, legendary Pokemon and even evil team bosses share screen time and kinda give us checkpoints to the next chapter of the story. Yes, the games were linear, but they felt more like a cohesive unit. I believe that's exactly where Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet missed, being a cohesive unit. Interaction between the stories. If Gita was somehow related to Area Zero, since the Paldean League was one of the few entities that could access the Great Crater of Paldea, then they could've and should've showed up when it came to the Path of Legends storyline. If Penny was hacking the Pokemon League systems to get her hands on some of those league points, then have her find something related to the research as well. These are just two ways using the main characters, but if they had the stories interacting in mind, they could have made an open world game with a linear-ish story. Checkpoints basically. Have Team Star block the entrance for a gym building, making us raid their base first. Have a Titan wreaking havoc near a base, having them deny us entry until we defeat that Titan. Have a cocky gym leader tell us they won't battle us until we've proven ourselves by defeating some other thing, a Titan or simply a weaker gym leader. Or simply add a little bit of level scaling to the gym leaders at least. Having a little bit of linearity would still work in an open world scenario, it would simply add some obstacles. And I know the obstacles are technically the Titan abilities, but even then, defeating them on the right order, the level order, would give you the optimal order of abilities as well. If they wanted to quietly force linearity, they should have done it in a better way, that's what I'm saying. But we kinda all know where this is coming from. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild was a fantastic title that completely left the gaming industry in awe. Ever since then, we saw a lot of attempts at recreating that same feeling, and they never got even close to it. Pokémon did a similar art style in Legends Arceus, but only really went full on with the open world in Scarlet and Violet. There's one key difference between the franchises and the games though. Breath of the Wild is an action RPG. You can and will have to deal with the enemies because they will go for you. You won't just be chilling past a Lionel and it will simply run in your direction to start a battle. No, it will start attacking you, it will murder you. Kinda like in Legends Arceus, a mix of turn-based and action RPG. You were in danger when a Pokémon that didn't like you decided to show you that it didn't like you. This will, most of the time, make you explore lower level areas first and only go for the higher level ones when you feel you're strong enough or want a challenge. In Scarlet and Violet, a battle will only start when there's a collision. And let's be honest, Pokémon are very easy to dodge. There was no challenge in exploring the higher level areas, and thus, they didn't really have that dangerous vibe they likely thought they would. The only ways to truly change this, in my opinion, would be to make Pokémon interact with us more, or to create situations where we are forced to interact with them. Then it really would feel like a challenge instead of a simple walk. In the DLC, for example, Drayton told us to catch Pokémon in the terrarium in order to battle his underlings. Imagine if in the main game, Rhyme told us to catch a few specific Pokémon in Glaciado. Those were high-level Pokémon, meaning that if we were low-level trainers, we wouldn't have an easy time doing it, especially if Pokémon attacked us or started battles. So that would be a challenge. Yes, even if we accomplished that, we would likely lose the actual Rhyme battle, since high-level Pokémon wouldn't listen to us and all that, but we had a good time trying. If we were higher level, well, it wouldn't be as much of a challenge, but that wouldn't matter at that point. It was simply a way to reward those who tried to go to those areas that were deemed dangerous. I think open world is better than the linear games we had, but I believe that there were many good things in the linear Pokémon game that helped make everything feel more like parts of a whole. Steven the Champion exploring the Granite Cave and then interacting with Team Aqua and Team Magma, Lance fighting against Team Rocket by our side, the gym leaders in Gen 5 uniting against Team Plasma. Even the roadblocks by evil teams. Yeah, they won't work the same in an open world form, but they can still block buildings. I mean, Game Freak did it for the most part, so I hope that in the next games that almost for sure will be open world, they haven't forgotten about how fantastic it would be taking the good out of both open and linear and mixing them into one more fantastic adventure that actually feels like one whole thing. And that is all I have for you today. I prefer open world, but I do hope they don't forget about the good that linear brought. But what about you? Open, linear, or a mix? Let me know in the comments down below. And now, like the video if you like it, dislike if you don't, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more Pokemon content and also ring the bell so you know when the next video is out. Also, you can become a channel member or check out my merch in order to further support the channel. I'd be forever thankful for that. You can follow me on social media or check out one of my streams here and on Twitch. All the links are in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.